I don't wanna fall in love tonight. I wanna dance with all the girls, party like I'm crazy. I believe in love, but not tonight, no, no. Tonight I'm gonna break the rules, I won't care about tomorrow. I'm not a player, you gotta believe me. I swear I'm a lover, but not today, no. Today I just wanna party, party. Today I don't want nobody to love me. Baby, you are beautiful, I'll make you mine. I swear I'm a lover, but not today, no. We on this ride for the long run. We gotta stay strong. There's only possibilities, no buts, no maybe. Doesn't matter how long, we keep on moving on. Riding to the night, we'll be alright. You and me, that's all we need to get through anything. That's all, just us. You and me, that's all we need to get through anything. That's all, just us.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back for another live stream feedback session brought to you by WA Production. This is Josh from WA Production, and I'm excited to be back here. Today is Sunday, August 23rd, at least where I am. I don't know where you are, but happy Sunday, happy maybe Monday, happy if you're really far behind on Saturday. I don't know what time it is where you are, but wherever it is, I hope you're doing well. Excited to be back for another week. Looking forward to listening to all your tracks. I will get to as many as possible as I do every week, but it is never possible to get to all of them, unfortunately. So if I miss you this week, I will do my best to get you the next week. As a reminder, all submissions need to be made to the Discord server, which is above my head at the top. You can see the link up there. That is the only place we accept submissions. Do not send them in the comments on Facebook or on YouTube or MySpace, anywhere else. And yeah, because every week people do it, and every week I don't ever see their submissions, so it's too bad. As a reminder, we really only want to see SoundCloud links. If necessary, you can send a Dropbox link, but definitely no YouTube links, no videos, because those will mess up the buffering of the stream. So yeah, please send them only through the Discord server, which will open soon. It's not open yet. But yeah, the Discord server is above my head at the top, and the channel within there is the live stream feedback channel. You can't submit it anywhere else. That's the only place I look. So as a reminder, we go out of order. I go in a random order to make sure that I don't always just listen to the first few people who submit every week. The one other way you can get a listen is by answering my weekly trivia question correct. If you're one of the first 10 people who answer it correct, and by the way, I don't think I've ever had one where 10 people got it correct yet. So basically, if you answer it correct, I'm going to guarantee I listen to your track. If you're not willing to play a game of chance and leave it up to the submission gods to see whether you get selected this week, you should try and answer my trivia question correctly. The only way to answer it is to include your answer when submitting the track in the post that you submitted on. So just add a comment, this is my answer, and if it's right, I will listen to your track. So this week's question is, what is the audio effect that mutes audio below a certain threshold? I'll say it again. What is the audio effect that mutes audio that is below a certain threshold? All right, so I'm going to open up the server channel now. It's open now, so go ahead and make your submissions. I highly suggest that you include your answers. Wow, a lot of submissions right away. Cool. So this week, let's get started with, I have no idea how to say this name, but Morgan Marr Cartel.
Got it like cartel. Got it like cartel in the yo blowing O's.
Got it like cartel in the yo blowing O's.
Got it like cartel in the yo blowing O's.
Got it like cartel in the yo blowing O's.
Got it like cartel in the yo blowing O's.
All right, wow, great way to start off the week, Morgan, as we confirmed. Nice job. I really like that. I mean, it sounds very much complete. I'm glad it says final because it sounds final. I don't really have too much to say. I mean, I think in future, I wouldn't even necessarily go back and make any changes to this, especially since, as you wrote, it's pretty much final. So, I mean, the only comment, it's not that specific, but I would say, maybe to in future, in the second half or second drop or whatever, make a few more change ups just to keep it a little bit more interesting. I think it's really good. I just don't want the listener by like this point, to start to kind of tune out a little bit, so that would be my only really comment. Everything sounds good. It's mixed quite well. I mean, everybody has little minor things that they might do to a track, but like there's nothing here that I can really recommend and say like you need to do this to get it to the next level. So it's very good. I did think maybe in the beginning the kick sounded a little distorted on the intro, but it's fine. The rest of the song sounds fine, so I don't know. I mean, it all sounds good. I'm not going to get too nitpicky with it, but it's very good. So nice job. I mean, clearly you are very good at composition, at sound selection, at doing the detail work. I thought that was really great. All the little sounds and effects and things that are going on to keep the song interesting. So nice job. I'm looking forward to seeing this released and hearing more from you. All right, we got Kate ID.
I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about you. Yeah, you.
I can list 1,000 things that keeps me satisfied every day. All the little things you do and say. Your smile takes my breath away. I bash my head against the wall. Ooh, oh, come on, baby, give me your all.
I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about you.
I can list 1,000 things that keeps me satisfied every day. All the little things you do and say. Your smile takes my breath away. I bash my oh, come on, baby, give me your all.
I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about you. I'm
Okay, yeah, another really good one. I definitely have a few comments for this, but I love it. I mean, a really, really awesome chord progression and melody and sounds. I like those little, I don't know what to call them, like the chords that are kind of plucky, but really good. The vocals are very, very nice. Really, really professional sounding. So here are a few comments. So firstly, your drums, aside from in the drop, your drums are like super quiet, like in the build and in the verses. Your kick is almost not audible in that build snare, and like the fill before the drops, like those need to be like way louder. Not crazy so, but like those are barely audible, so you need to fix that. Vocals are very good. When the female vocal comes in, it gets a little bit drowned out. So I think that rather than necessarily putting up the volume of the vocal, because I think it sounds pretty good, I think doing some dynamic EQ work. I don't know if you have a plugin that does this, but basically you can like sidechain essentially the vocal to those chords, because I think the chords are kind of what's getting in the way, especially with the female vocal, which has a higher frequency range. So that whenever the vocal comes in, the chords or whatever is getting in the way dips out a little bit, but not necessarily the whole sound, because you kind of want it to be like a puzzle piece, like the vocal slots into it, and you don't want everything in the chords to go down like with a sidechain compression. You would really rather just the pieces that are in that vocal to slot out in the chords or whatever's in the way. So try something like that. I mean, I really like Track Spacer. There's some Isotope plugins that do that as well in a similar way, if you do the masking feature. But anyway, so that's one idea there. And then I think this last drop needs a little bit more something. I was kind of hoping for like maybe just like a drone, like a synth that's just playing throughout. Like it can even be one note or a rising note or something like that, just to give it a little bit more of a crescendo, of a climax in the end there. But overall, very good. And then lastly, I think your chords, like in the drops, maybe have a little too much reverb, or the reverb's a little too long. It just kind of like, it's not bad, but like I kind of felt that like they sound like they're in a big warehouse that the rest of the sounds don't really feel like that. So maybe tone that down or just shorten the decay time of the reverb a little bit. But very good. Nice job. Okay, next we got Gestaltified, Carefree. Nice. Yeah, so I think we've heard that one before. I think we've probably updated it since the last time you submitted it. But very cool. I mean, I really like the melodies. I love the sound design. You did a really great job. I think it's super unique. Throws you with some unexpected stuff. I like that in the end you do that kind of piano half-timey drop kind of, or not drop, but section. I really like it. It's very cool. So for this one, it's kind of interesting. I mean, one of the biggest things I was kind of hoping for was in a weird way, because I often say the opposite, but a little more dynamic. So like if you look here visually, like there it's basically just like full. There's no silence ever. And so I think, a big thing for these kind of genres, I don't know exactly how to classify this, but you have these crazy big wild sounds that are like super impactful, but then they're juxtaposed usually with like silence, or like with a very unexpected fill or something like that, that's like a totally different dynamic atmosphere. So like I think what you could do, and I don't know your production process, but if you take the stems and if you just like bounce everything to audio, and then you just kind of take some of the tails of certain sounds and like chop them so that they don't like tail out and drag into the next like little section, I think that would be kind of effective in giving it a little bit more bounce. Like right now it just kind of feels like straight heaviness like throughout, but I think having like little bits where like at least maybe not complete silence, but you take out some of the tails and things that are overlapping a fill or something like that, just so that there's a bit more of a mix of elements and it just doesn't sound like it's just like a wall of sound the entire time. So I don't know how helpful that is. I hope it is, but I mean, really, there's not much else for me to say. I think it's very good. I think there's maybe some mixed things that you could improve to get it sounding a bit better, but I think definitely making it a bit more dynamic would help for sure in making you really want to like bang your head to it. Because right now there's not really the ability to bang your head. It's kind of like your head needs to be like straight up the whole time because like it's just coming at you. But like I don't know. Yeah, I think that would help. So, but nice job, really good job. Okay, we got Futurama by Kilo. Nice job, as always. I mean, you always do a great job. I'm always impressed that I feel like you always submit tracks that you say you made last night. So that's it's always impressive. Very good for making this in one night, if that's the case. Yeah, I mean, I think it just sounds like it's a little raw. I mean, it sounds quite fleshed out, but mix wise, I think that some elements are a little too loud, too soft, whatever it is. But I'm not going to go too into detail with that. That would be one of the biggest things I would say. I do like the detail work that you included. I like the melody. I think it's really strong. I would say, I think it does start to feel a little long. I know that this kind of genre can be long, and that's fine. But if it's going to be long, if it's going to be 5, 6, 7 minutes, whatever it is, it can't feel long. So I don't know if it's necessarily you need to add some more changes or additional instruments or something like that, but it does think around here I started to kind of feel like, okay, this is feeling a little long. So it's still a work in progress, so I'm sure that'll be improved with time. But yeah, I think it's really good. The piano sounds great. I mean, I think you did a really nice job, so I'm looking forward to you finishing this one up. Nice job. Okay, Memories, Jay Daniels remix.
I've been getting no sleep, no. Feeling really empty, oh. I've been getting no sleep, no. Tell me that you love me. Took my heart away, all those empty times we shared. Could have been the one, would have ended all your fears. And now the hell you see, broke you, we were 18. Now there's no damn rest in my memory.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I like that. I honestly don't really know the original. I'm not sure who the original artist is, but it sounds quite good. Yeah, I mean, I think firstly for this style, you want it to be bouncy. And so it's actually kind of similar to what I was saying before. If you look here, there's very little dynamics and it's quite there's no silence. And part of the reason is that your chords and things that are playing along with the bump bump ba bump, they've got like these longer tails, like a delay or something, or decay, I mean, sorry. And so there's no silence in between the chords, and so you can either tweak the if it's a preset or whatever it is to have a shorter decay, and or you can jump in and edit the audio, probably is easiest, rather than trying to automate in MIDI, and just like create spaces. And I think that'll be better, because like the way that it feels, that like bumpy bouncy bump bump ba bump, it's not going to feel the same if it's ba 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 ba. It's like that's the difference, is it doesn't have that bounce unless there's space in between each one. It doesn't mean you need complete silence, but you do need the bass and the chords to go silent basically in between each one. So I would work on that. That would make a huge difference to make you just want to kind of bounce around. I think the vocal sounds a little loud. It kind of sounds like it's on top of the track rather than mixed into it. And so there are some tools, some methods that you can use, like what I was talking about before, to have it more like slot into the track rather than just throwing it on top of it. So I would work on the mix for sure. But yeah, it's a really cool idea, and I think it sounds very good. So the production wise is quite good. So nice job. Alrighty, Crumble by Brookrid. Sorry, I probably butchered that one, but let's take a listen. Nice. I really like that. I think the chords and the composition's quite good. It's really nice. It was fun. I felt like in these builds and verses, sort of, you have chords, but they're almost like not audible. Yeah, like I think like a guitar chord or something. Like I think those should be louder, so that you can really tell. Because right now it just kind of sounds like a pretty sterile sub, and then like those little, higher stuff. But there's nothing in between, like in the mid range, sort of. So I think I would turn that up. And then yeah, I mean it sounds good. I think that like the chord, it just kind of, I don't know if the drop just doesn't impact you as much as it should. I think because like if you look here, it's kind of like the build is just as loud as the drop, and so doing some additional filtering or lowering in volume, and then having the drop really hit really hard. I mean, it could probably even be limited a bit more. It was a little quiet. And then I think those drop chords could use a little bit more high frequency, like air, to just give it some sizzle. And I think that'll help a lot. But overall, I really like it. I think mostly just mix things that I would fix. So nice job, and I think it's a really good track. Okay, Wings version 2 by Van Mill. Cool. I really like that beat. It's really nice. I like this like toy piano kind of sound. I think that's really cool. Very, very popular these days in hip hop production. Um, I do think like if we listen to this part that just is basically just that, it's pretty narrow. It sounds kind of mono. And so, I mean, I would maybe make that a little wider, whether you use some stereo widening or panning or whatever it is. I think that would be kind of cool if it was a little wider. And then, secondly, I don't know. The biggest issue for me in this was I'm not sure exactly what it is, but that sub, like 808 or whatever it is, kind of sounds like warbly. It sounds like it's got like vibrato or something like that. I'm not sure what's causing that or what the deal is, but I would have a listen to that because you really want that sub, that 808 to be your like driving force in this genre, and it needs to be like steady and stable, not like wow and like wobbling around. So like look into that a bit. I'm not sure exactly what would cause that, but it also seemed to kind of create some slight points that almost sounded out of key because it kind of sounded like it was like warbling into like a different key. I don't know. So just look into that. You want that to be steady and strong, and I think it could be a little bit bigger and beefier. So I mean, some multi-band compression and some saturation I think could help. But very good. I think it's really nice, and I think really mainly the mix, just kind of to get everything sounding like it's all in the same place, in the right place and everything. I think that would be good. But yeah, generally very good. Nice job. Okay, so before we get to this next one, firstly, I'm a little offended, Brewcrid, that you want to see Roman back, because that basically means that you don't like me. So I'll try to not take it personally. But Roman is around, and he is still running WA production, but he lets me handle all of the other things that don't require his attention, like this. But anyway, maybe one day he'll make a guest appearance. We'll see. But he is across the world from me, so we will most likely, you'll never see us in the same room. Anyway, so really quick before I keep going, I wanted to just share with you our new plugin that we released last week. In the past week, we released Vocal Cleaner. I'm really excited about this one because it does things that I've had to use multiple plugins for a very long time. It's also a really cost-effective version of some very expensive, I mean, it's not a version of them, but it does a lot of things that some much more expensive tools out there can do. So it's really great for removing the noise and sounds from a recording that you don't really want. You can denoise them. It uses an algorithm to take out background hum and hiss and other noises. It has a de-esser, which many of you probably know is very important when processing vocals, so that they don't have the harsh sibilances that automatically get picked up by a microphone, especially if you're not using like an amazing microphone. You definitely need de-essing, although don't de-ess too much or else you'll sound like you have a lisp. And then it has a noise gate, which is why I asked the question today about what is the audio effect that mutes sound below a certain threshold. So that's what a noise gate does. You usually use those on vocals. I mean, you can use them on anything, but vocals pretty commonly, so that you can just automatically mute any unwanted, like super low volume mouth sounds and other maybe background noise in the recording. But yeah, I mean, it's got filters. It can do all sorts of really cool stuff. So I highly recommend you checking it out. It's 81% off right now temporarily. So anyway, that's all I wanted to show you. So back to work, and don't worry, Brewcrid, I'm probably saying your name wrong anyway, so I apologize for that, but I am not offended, I promise. I'm just joking. Okay, Ref June Reckoner. Nice job. Okay, so really cool trance track. We don't get a lot of that. That's really awesome. It reminds me a lot of one of my favorite groups, Above and Beyond, and I think that's about the best compliment I can give somebody. Although I do think that it needs mostly work on the mix and the master in order to really get it sounding professional. So firstly, I think you do a really good job. Normally, I recommend people not do 6.5-minute songs, but for trance, that's a whole different story. And I think you do a great job of having a really long build-up, but it really does build excitement. It doesn't get boring, really, in my opinion. But visually, can you tell me where the drop is? Because I can't. And I think it's like right here. And that's a problem because it's not that it looks bad. I mean, I don't care what it looks like, but it looks that way because of how it sounds. And it sounds like it just rolls right into the drop, and there is no tension built right at the end there. Like it just rolls right into it. There's not an empty space. There's not enough filtering out. You need to filter out the bass. You need to maybe turn down the volume as you get closer to the drop. You need to maybe filter out some of the highs. Like you really need to have it filter, and then explode. Because right now it just rolls right into it in both drops, in both of the main drops. And that just it honestly just like ruins the feeling of the track, and so that needs to be fixed. That's the biggest thing for sure. And then generally there's just a lot of reverbs and stuff, which obviously you need in trance, but they're kind of flowing into each other and making it a little bit muddy. So I would definitely work on that. And the thing with reverbs and stuff, I typically automate them throughout the track. Like you don't want right before the drop to be like a bunch of reverb, because that'll just like lose the impact of the drop. And so definitely use some automation throughout the track. And then over here, I really like when you go into, and this is really what reminded me of like Above and Beyond, when they go into like a totally different drop that's like more bass heavy and stuff. But I would add some saturation to those sounds, like to make it more gritty and grimy, I guess, on that bassy synth. And then lastly, your drums are way too quiet. And I think, like here, you can hear in the out, like it's just like a very thin sounding drum sound. And part of that is that I think you're not side chaining enough. I think you need to side chain some of the elements to the kick more, but then also they're just too quiet. I mean, like it's you need the kick and stuff in trance should be like a driving force. So I definitely would work on that. Okay. Melbourne Bounce by SOM.
Now my love is gone, running out of sight. Yeah, I keep thinking about you day and night, 'cause it broke my heart when you said goodbye. Yeah, I keep thinking about you day and night. Oh, my love is gone, 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 my love is gone.
Okay, so very cool idea. In the drops, it kind of sounds like you have extremely low sounds and extremely high sounds and not enough in between. So if we go to this part where you filtered out the lead, you can really hear the how low the sub is. like you're an octave too low. You need to push that an octave higher. You do not need your bass to be that like it's only like very low sub, like it's almost below where the human ear can hear. You need to pump up your bass an octave higher. And then for the lead, it really is very high frequency information. I would at least add a lower octave layer to it, if not move the whole thing an octave lower. You just got to see how it sounds, but that would really help a lot. And then I would consider adding something in between the two, like bouncy little chords or something like that, just to, right now it's not full. You've got extreme low end and extreme high end, and you need to have the middle of your sound filled out as well so that it sounds like a full track. But really cool idea. I think it sounds very good. Your production quality is nice. Just keep working on it and finish it up. Okay, Get Out of My Head, instrumental. Howen. Thank you. Let's listen. Wow, that's a special track. Really, really good job. It was, those drops and the breakdown here was totally unexpected in the halftime kind of style there. Really, really good job. The verses, or whatever you want to call those sections, do need a little bit of work, mix-wise in particular. If you listen over here, it's muddy. Like there's those like piano-esque chords playing, along with those filtered, synth chords. And there's just something clashing here in the low end. It almost actually makes it sound out of key because there's a couple things happening at the same time. It's like that 200 hertz area, 250 probably, that's just like too muddy. So I would probably either remove or figure out how to get these things to sound well together, because your verse sections just don't live up to your drop sections. Your drop sections are amazing, like perfect. But the verse sections need a bit of work, probably because those are less fun to make. And I always struggle with that same issue. But yeah, take a look at that. I mean, it's the same in the beginning. I felt in the beginning as well. There's just something with those sustained piano-esque chords that it just doesn't sit right with the rest. I mean, maybe you can just take them out. I don't know how it'll sound, but anyway, that's what needs the most work. I think over here with this like kind of organic sounding bass, like bass guitar, I think I think you could give it a little bit more pluckiness and have it really sound a bit more natural. But I mean, overall, those drops and especially that halftime section, really, really awesome. So nice job. I'm excited about this one. Okay, Dream by Jig Music. Okay, so really good song. The concept is great, and the composition is really nice. The melody and the key, as far as everything being harmonic, it all sounds very good. Um, However, the mix is really not good. So that's gonna always detract from this song unless you can get it mixed properly. Maybe that means hiring somebody who's a mix engineer, because this is really far from being mixed properly. There are certain sounds that are far too loud, certain sounds that are far too quiet, certain sounds, like everything kind of sounds mid frequency. There isn't enough bassy stuff. There isn't enough high end airy. You have these kind of what should be airy synth lead type things, but they're like almost filtered. So I mean, it just is like a lot of mix problems. And then as far as the synths, it needs to be sidechained to the kick. Your kick is completely like drowned out because there's not any side chaining, and that I also will help with the groove. I think having a bit more flow and groove with the side chain would help a lot. I don't mean to be negative. I mean, because the song is produced well, but that's like half the battle. The next half, you actually need to make it sound good. And so I think you've got the production down. I think you need to focus 100% of your time on getting better at mixing, because unfortunately you can be the best producer in the world, but if your mix doesn't sound good, no one's gonna care. So that's something you need to focus on. Or like I said, if you have the finances, to maybe hire a professional person to do a stem mix of your track, although it's not usually very cheap. Okay, so nice job though. You're doing great on the production side. You just need to get a bit better at the mix side and try and compare your song to other songs in this genre, like Maddie songs or something like that, and hear how different like their lead sounds are sounding and their kick and all of that, and how it's really coming together in a full sound. So, okay, we've got No Sleep Roy remix. Maxwell Aiden, I guess, is the original artist, so let's check it out. Oh, that was weird. Hold on. Play. Okay, there we go.
I've been getting no sleep, no. Feeling really empty, oh. I've been getting no sleep, no. Tell me that you love me. Took my heart away, all those empty times we shared. Could have been the one, would've ended all your fears. And now the hell you see, broke it, we were 18. Now there's no zero rest in my memory. Tell me that you think about me all night long. Tell me that you dream about me now I'm gone. 'Cause I've been on there's something wrong. I just wanna be that. I've been getting no sleep, no. Feeling really empty, oh. I've been getting no sleep, no. Tell me that you love me, My anxiety's not 10. Tell me that you think about me all night long. I've been getting wrong. I just wanna be. I've been getting no sleep, no. Feeling really empty, oh. I've been getting no sleep, no. Tell me that you love me, I've been getting no sleep, no. Feeling really empty, oh. I've been getting no sleep, no. Tell me that you love me,
Okay, very good concept. So with this one, firstly, you have these like, I don't know what it is, synth chord or pad or something that's playing throughout like the whole drop and throughout much of the rest of the song. Take it out. Like, take it out of the drop. That's like, I don't often give just like straight up advice, but like remove it. It needs to be gone. Your drops, it's a future bass drop. And then when the snare comes in, basically the snare should be the only thing there. Again, this is kind of the theme of the day, is juxtaposing like interesting sounds with silence or with less sounds. Like these chords, if you listen, like they're just making the sound very muddy. They're making everything less impactful. They're making it so that there is no juxtaposition. Like it just is playing throughout the whole thing. So there's no variety. So like whenever the snare comes in, you've got these weird chords underneath it that like should just not be there. It's that da na 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 na, whatever that is. I mean, maybe you could leave them in if you like filter the heck out of them and take out the low end. They're just very muddy. I would try just removing them and seeing how that sounds. I like the drops a lot. I think that they need more detail work. You know, in future bass, there's usually a lot of fills and effect shots and different things like that to keep it interesting. And then secondly, it kind of is the same drop every time. So I think especially for that last one, you need to do something more interesting. Change up the rhythm of that tremolo on those chords, like of the wobbles and stuff, or add in another layer. I think would be cool, like maybe a lead, like those chords that I'm telling you to kind of take out. I think maybe you could have that as like a lead way higher in the spectrum, like da na na na, playing, but like in the 2000, 3000, 4000 frequency area up there rather than down in like 200. So I think that would be helpful. And then, yeah, your drums are quite low. They're not loud enough. And what else? Yeah, I mean, just generally, I think the mix needs work. Certain things are too loud, too quiet, that kind of thing. But and then lastly, yeah, I skipped through it because I was like, there's no way there's a drop here, but there's a drop like over here, and it was way quieter than like the rest of that section. And so you need your drop to be loud, and so at least compared to your verses. So like right here. Like your snare is loud there, but the rest of the drop is not. So just a lot of mix issues, but generally it's a really good concept, and I enjoyed the track for sure. All right, everybody. So thank you for submitting today. I am sorry, but we are done. I am out of time. I will try to do better next week and get to as many of you as I can. If I didn't get to you this week, I apologize. Thank you for tuning in. You guys did great. As always, I'm impressed by all your submissions. And I hope that you found this feedback valuable. Even if I didn't get to your song today, I hope you learned something and that you can take into your tracks. So I'm going to sign out. I think you did a great job today, and I hope you all have a wonderful week. Adios.